Sydney this morning, Denver is one of 6 cities in the country starting a professional women's rugby team.
Yeah, and a story you'll see only on Denver 7. We're getting our first look at the Denver Onyx. Denver 7's Allie Jenner-John is live at their training facility in Glendale, and you have the players and coaches out there with you too this morning.
I do, and I told them this morning, I said, it's nice to know other people wake up as early as us, and they were like, well, I think this is about to be pretty common because they are now a part of that first women's professional rugby team here in Denver and only 5 other states right now. You can see them practicing behind me. They're training on this field, but over to our right, that's where they'll play in their first game on March 29th inside that stadium at Infinity Park. Now, I know I promised you'd get to hear from Coach Shabbat. She got a little too into training, so we'll hear from her later, but I am joined by 3 players if you guys want to come up here. And, you know, I was talking to your coaches throughout the week, and they said that Denver 7 is the first media outlet to have reached out for them. And I say that just to add perspective, that this might be an underreported, under-recognized sport. Can you guys talk to us a little bit? What do you want people to know about women's rugby?
Yeah, so women's rugby is definitely growing in the States, thanks to the Olympics. So the women's 7 teams won a medal there. But in terms of 15s, it's growing. There's a lot of clubs around the States, but when you think about globally, rugby is a lot of nations' national sport. You know, it's the equivalent to their NFL, their MLB. And in the States, it's definitely not as big, but there's extreme potential for rugby to become one of those major sports. And I might be a little biased, but I think it definitely should be a huge sport in the States.
Do you want to add anything as well?
Yeah, for sure. So in addition to that, it's a really awesome sport for all players. And I think something great about rugby that you might not see everywhere is that all types of people can play. You have your speedsters, you have your bigger players who punch through. So it's a really amazing sport for everybody. And I think that's an amazing thing and an amazing reason why rugby is so popular around the world and why it has that potential to grow in the United States.
And then really quick, I want to get in because this question actually came up in our newsroom this morning. And I know you play on the Grey Wolves team or did play on the Grey Wolves team. What is the difference? People might say, well, we already have professional rugby here in Denver, but that's not true.
Yeah, so the Grey Wolves, I've played with Glendale here for about 6 years now. So there's a really rich rugby history here in this state specifically, especially in this city. And the Grey Wolves, they've been more of a semi-professional side for the last few years. So essentially players have paid to play, and you know, it's an expensive hobby at the end of the day. And we sacrifice in a way that it's not a hobby. We treat it like a part-time or a full-time job, but the pay isn't there, the resourcing isn't there, and the ability for a league to now brand and try and push a product forward is really incredible. So we're really excited for WER to kick off, and we want big things from this league, and we want that work rewarded essentially. So we have a lot of players here that have played for the Grey Wolves and are going to keep. We have a few players that are actually moonlighting with the Grey Wolves and then playing with us as well, and then a few that have just tried out and played with WER, and we're stepping up the league and stepping up the level of play, and really excited about it.
Awesome. WER, just so you guys know, stands for Women's Elite Rugby. Coming up, you'll hear from Coach Shabbat. Lisa, I just want to point out that there's one player on their team. She's just in high school, and she's part of a group called the Foundational 5. We'll hear from Coach Shabbat about what that means.
One of my best friends played rugby back in the day, and she said the bonds that these women build, too. I mean, they've got their huddle, the scrum. That's a big part of the game, too. Very cool. Thanks, Allie. A beautiful day out there for any even early morning practice. A little chilly early on, but you're going to find temperatures this afternoon out on the playground and out in your backyard well into the 60s.